I usually I dig for R&B acapellas and then I cut them up. So that's it in a nutshell, really. I have a toolbox again. This is like my folder worth of stuff that I use a lot. And I have a folder in here called R&B acapellas. And it's just lots and lots of acapellas that I've found from places online. I like having like nice, clean female vocal to work with, and then you're able to, because it's more melodic, and it seems so many things in my tune are not melodic, like the basses and the drums and like everything. It's all rhythmic and tonal. I like to have something like a synth or a vocal or something like that to kind of accentuate whatever melody is trying to happen inside the basses or whatever. It's like you can kind of hear that little melody happening and the vocal's kind of just there to toughen it up or make it like more obvious. Oh no, here we go, Brandy, that's a chick. So... to get you off my mind. So let's say we just take that hit or something, then yeah, I'll obviously like pitch it around, and usually I just do it with the transposition encoder. So let's say we have like that little cha-cha movement. And then maybe I use Command, I think on Windows it's Alt, to turn, like, so you don't have to turn the grid off all the time to kind of cut stuff on the transient. So what I do is I just hold Command and I kind of like just grab parts and then cut it and move it around and stuff. But I do it with the grid on. And then I'll generally like just take a couple of hits from each acapella, but I'll use like 50 different ones. So that one's just like, you know, Brandy, and then the next one might be Timberland, and then I'll just kind of like keep taking like little cuts from heaps of different stuff and just making like a big collage basically of like little vocal cuts and stuff. For instance, URL, this track is like probably the pinnacle of this idea, where I've just spent like so much time finding like so many different acapellas. Okay, so here is like the actual group of vocal chops. So yeah, you can see like this one is acapella Young Ralph, I bought that. I don't know what that is. Colby O'Donis, I Want to Touch You. And then what's this? Slim Thug featuring Lil O None of Your Business. Okay, so like I just randomly pick them. And then together they all sound like this. I'll open them up so you can see them as well. Yeah, so it's just like tons of little cuts, and then in the context of the tune, obviously they sound like this. And some of them are warped and some of them aren't. Like sometimes I just unwarp it and then just move the playhead around to try and find like a nice movement in the vocal or something like that. I actually have another trick that you might have seen the tutorial I did online. It's called the placeholder. So what I do is I have this thing in my toolbox called a placeholder, and it's just a clip of silence. And then what I'll do is I'll drag the end playhead out, and then what I can do is I can just drag this around, and you can see it's actually moving like the piece of waveform within just that little time in the track. So sometimes I'll just drag it around, try and find a nice hit that way. And then let's go back. So the one I ended up with is this one. That's what I decided was the best one. All Alright, I'm going to start off with Chitulu. Does anyone know what this plugin is? Okay, so it's like a chord generator. It's a fancy way of being haywire quickly. So like you can just choose like a key signature that you want to write in. There's a bunch of like weird classical ones as well. I'll take the input here from Chitulu, I'll mute that channel, I'll create a version of Zebra on this channel, I'll take the Chitulu pre-effects and then I'll just record it. Nice. And that way it just records the MIDI back into it as chords so I can actually edit it further. So maybe I'll have like two channels, one that's like a workbench and one that has the original MIDI in it so I can kind of mess with it a little bit. Let's just find a quick snare. So I usually like to have some sort of rhythm happening at some stage. And I'm going to mess around with the automation of this cutoff a lot. Maybe just like kind of copy this over and then we can work from that to progress it on the second bar a bit more just to save a bit of time. I might just change the tail of the second one. And then I might have like a bunch of really short chords here. Actually, then maybe we could use the original Chitulus here if we just legato all of those chords and make it like kind of nice and long. Also, what I usually do is I'll have like a separate channel for sidechaining stuff, and I'll just put like any sound in there. I don't really give a shit like what the sound is. I'll just make like a really short clip and have a really strong ass fade on it and make it really loud like that. And then I'll just consolidate it. So I just have like a big input to feed into a sidechain compressor. And we want to have that happening on like kind of every beat, and then that's what I'm going to use to chain this thing, which I don't know what it's going to be yet, maybe just some sine waves. And then I'm going to sidechain that to the sidechain channel that I just made. But I might freeze that one into audio. Oh, well, I can't. So here we go. Here's an example of where it's nice to know that if you can't just freeze it, then it's cool to know the fastest way to get it down into audio. So the fastest way I think would be just to freeze it without the compressor on it, and just drag that to a new channel, and then just put the compressor back on it. Be like, lol, jokes on you, Ableton. And then I can kind of, use the dynamics of the chords. They can also fit the reverb because I can just kind of cut the audio so it's not like completely reverb all the time, and that'll give it like a little bit more movement and stuff. And we can even just cut it over the top to give it like a little bit more depth. Put fades on it and stuff. You know what could be cool? If we just get like a loop, like a drum loop, and then affect it in heaps of different ways with like a granulizer or something, and then cut up the result. I'm just gonna make like a quick sort of, just a real simple beat, like. And then I'm gonna put a granulizer on that. Let's go back to the U-He stuff. And then let's put on, U-Big G. And what I'm gonna do is what I call preset thrashing. So I'm gonna resample this into the master, and I'm gonna click this preset next button as fast as I can. Yeah, I like to do it to heaps of things actually, so let's maybe try it on the chords as well, that could be cool. And then like I'm just creating a bunch of content for editing basically, so we don't have to search for samples for a while. So maybe from there we might just try and find some hits that we like. I kind of like that hit. It's like subtly affected, but it's not like super duper weird. It just has that nice little front end on it and stuff. Maybe we could just. That could work. It's like a dude, but it's kind of like a girly dude. So it's like that hit there is essentially being a piece of percussion now. So I think that's about all the useful stuff I'm going to get out of that acapella. So then I'll like move on to another one. I really need to go through these and like organize them into dudes and chicks. Coding with so simple. Then I feel like I need like a little tail here or something. And then also what I'll do usually at the end is put them all in a group and then I'll widen them, and a lot of acapellas that I have are actually in mono, which is normal because like usually what people do to actually extract the acapella is like put it in mono and then like remove all the side information and then put it out of phase with an instrumental of the track, and that will like just leave you with the acapella. Personally for me, like it's I guess become like a bit of a signature thing that I do now. It's just more like interesting, I feel like, to make melodic structures out of that rather than like a synth or something. Cool, well anyway, thanks a lot for watching.